In this video, I'm going to talk about the new functionality available within Microsoft Power Automate for the authoring experience. Now, I have combined these two topics in one video. So, the first one, which we're going to talk about, are the flow runs. So, now you can view the flow runs within the backend table for all the Power Automate flows execution. Uh, Now, there are other things which Microsoft has recently added for some of the tenants, which is in preview for a lot of the regions. So it is not currently available in all the tenants, but I have made use of preview US tenant, and that's why I can see some functionality. So one of them is saving the draft. So you can now actually save the draft for Power Automate actions, Power Automate work. Then you can view all the published Power Automate flows by tracking down to the version history, and then you have an ability to restore the older version of the flow which you have authored. So I'm going to go through all these things in this video. Now, version history displays all the previous versions of the flow. It is available when the flow is part of the solution. So you need to make sure that the flow which you author don't directly start from make.powerautomate.com, rather than go into the solution, create a solution, and then from there create a flow. Now, what it displays the current published version, past published version, saved versions, like how you save the flow in a draft, and you can see the latest published versions, and you can even see the latest saved version. Now, from a restore perspective, you can restore all the previous versions flow into the current version. So say, take for example, if you have built a flow and you have published it like v1 version, and then maybe you might have gone ahead and accidentally modified it and published v2 version, and if you want to revert back to the v1 version, you can do that. Then there is a flow run table, as I mentioned to you. It's a backend table which record the flow run details. So this is how the authoring interface looks like. On the right hand side, you will see a version history option. If you click on the version history button on the toolbar, so you have an option of version history, saving the draft, publishing, and eventually you can restore that as well. So if you navigate to the old published version, you can actually restore the previous flows, and then it will give you a warning message because it's going to overwrite the current version which is published. Now, cloud flow run. Now there is a setting within every environment which is in a preview state. So there's a cloud flow run history in Dataverse. So you have an option to select the flow run entity time to live, like there's a 28 days retention period, or a 14 days, or 7 days, or you can completely disable the flow run history. So with this, what happens is, like, you'll be able to see the flow run record within Dataverse table. Okay, so let's jump into the demo. So I'm in one of the environments. So first I'll show you by navigating into the preview US environment, how to enable the flow run configuration. Either you can completely disable it, or maybe you can enable it and put the retention period as 14 days, 28 days, and other settings. So here, so I'm in Power Automate screen. I will first navigate to admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com and then go to Girish Preview US. So this is one of the environment which I'm going to make use of in the by to show you the demo. Now, if I navigate to the settings, and under settings, if I navigate to features, and if you scroll down, here you will see one option called as Cloudflow Run History in Dataverse. Now here, what it says is, like, with Cloudflow Run History in Dataverse, you can leverage the extensibility of Dataverse to track the results of your Cloudflow execution at scale. So I'm going to show you this table as well. Now there is a flow run entity time to live. So there are options like you can enable it, and then it will retain the data for 28 days. Okay. Now, what are the other options? We have a 14 days and 7 days retention, and I can completely disable it as well. So I'll just leave it for enable 28 days retention, and you can save it. Now, this was by default, so that's why it's not allowing me to save. But then if I change it to 14 days, I can save this. Okay. So like this, you can set the Cloudflow run history in Dataverse. Now, coming back to Power Automate, now here in Power Automate, if so, first what I'm going to show you is like once you are in make.preview.power automate, go to create, and then from there go to instant cloud flow, and then name this flow. Okay, so I'm just naming some something for this flow, and I click on manually trigger a flow. Now, if you see over here, I can author a flow in the new interface, and let me add an action. So let me add a compose action, and I'll just save this. Now, if you see over here, there is you don't see any version history or restore option within the top bar right here. So you don't see that, right? So what you need to do is like say whatever flow you have created. So let me name this flow correctly. So like I'll just call it as demo flow May 2024. Okay, and then I'll save this. So what we have done, we have authored this flow by using the create menu option. Okay, now this flow is neither in a solution or nor in any of the solutions which is available within the platform. So this I have created just by going into create and then started creating from here. So that is a wrong approach. You should not do that. What you need to do is like every time make sure that you have your own solution built in. If you have a solution already created, you can utilize that, or maybe you can go ahead and provision a new solution. So let me provision a new solution, and I'll call it as May 2024 solution, and I'll select the publisher, and I'll click on create. Now here we have already created one flow, right, which was outside this solution. So I'm gonna import those flow. So I'll click on add existing automation cloud flow, and then from here the flow which I have just created, which is demo flow May 2024, which is outside Dataverse, and I'll click on add. Now what it will do, it will import that flow in this solution, and now that solution will become part of that flow will become part of that solution. Now, once that solution object is inserted, then I'll try and edit that flow. Okay. So this is the flow. I'll just click on it. So it will automatically open in edit mode. So from there, we can orchestrate this particular flow. Now, once it is loaded, I'll just click on edit. And here, if you see now, there are a lot of menu options which get lighted up. So there's a version history, which will allow you to view all the older versions. You can save the draft. So without even having any items within your flow, you can save that record, and you can test and you can publish. Okay. So currently, if you click on version history, there is nothing because there's just one item which we have just published 2:20 p.m. So what we are gonna do, we are gonna maybe make some change. Okay. So I'm just adding another compose action, and I'll put some value, and I'll click on save draft. Okay, so I can save this as a draft. Now watch what happens what over here. So once I click on save draft, it will save that record. Okay, so if you see here, the first one is the version which we have just created, so that's we have saved using save draft, right? And this one is the version which was published at 2:20 p.m. Okay, so that's the difference basically. Now again, we can make some further changes as well. So let me add another compose action, and this time I'll just add s3. Okay, so and click on save draft. So the moment you click on save draft, now there will be another entry over here, and then you can, like that, you can navigate to different sections. So now as you see over here, this was the first change after publish, and this was the second change after publish. Now this is the latest version, this is the published version. So everyone will see the published version, and only the authoring users will see the latest version. Now if you are good with this particular changes, then what you can do is like you can publish this particular flow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to publish this flow. So the moment I click on publish, uh, the version at say 2:22 p.m. will become the published version now. So you will see one more entry over here. So as you see over here, this is published now. Now what has happened to the previous published version is it has become past published. Okay, So now like that you can have multiple past published. So here, just by looking into the screen, I can say that this particular flow was published twice, so one here and one here. And let's go ahead and do one more thing. Let me add another action, so another compose action just for testing, and I'll click on save draft. And then again I'm gonna publish it. So let me publish this. So now once I publish this, I can see that uh, there will be two past published because this is a third publish. Okay, so once it is published, so you will see past published twice. So as you see over here, past published twice, and this is the latest version. Now after this you can make further changes, and thereby it can save all the version history information, right? So this is a nice little feature. Now, take for example, if you want to restore the very old version, so what you need to do is you just click on that version and see. So the moment you click on it, you will be able to see what was there in that version. Now, if I click on the second published version, I should be able to see what was there. So there were three compose actions. Now, if I see the latest published version, there are four compose action, right? So like this, I can navigate to different versions. So take for example, if I just want to restore the very old version, so I just need to click on it and then just click on the restore button. So the moment you click on restore, it will prompt you to check. So it says restoring this flow version will promote it to be the current draft version for reviewing, editing, or publishing. You will lose any changes since your last saved version. I'll say okay, that's fine. So I'll just click on restore, and now we are restoring the old version. Now if you see, the time is 2:24 p.m. And once it is saving this draft, we have an option to publish it. Okay, so it won't publish it automatically. Once you click on restore, you just need to click on publish, and once you click on publish, then we should be able to see the published version over here. Okay, so it's still publishing, and you will see the latest version which is published over here, which has just one compose action. So like this you can even navigate to different versions. So if I want to restore the three compose action, I can go back and then I can click on restore as well. So this is how basically the versioning works within Microsoft Power Automate. Now, so we have done all this thing. Now let me go into the latest version, which is a published one. Now, if you see, if you click on the published version, which is latest, you will see an option to run, right? You can test it. Now, if you go into any other published version, you cannot run it. You can just restore it. And any draft, again, you can go and restore it. Okay. So if you see over here, you see a restore button for all the other things which is not latest version or published. Now, let me test this. So if I click on test, it will say, it will allow me to test this functionality. Now I can test it either manually or automatically. Now this is a stock standard procedure whereby you can test this application. Now why I am just showing you how to test it is like you just need to click on test and then execute this piece of work. I have already executed this particular flow in my previous iteration. Now the another topic which we were talking about was flow run, right? Cloud flow run history in Dataverse. Now, if you navigate to say make.powerapps.com, and if you navigate to your correct environment, Girish Preview US in my case, so if I go to tables and if I search for all and search for flow, now here you will see a lot of flow related tables like flow event, flow log, flow machine. So there are like a whole bunch of flow related tables. You will find it over here. But the one which we were looking is the flow run, which is an elastic table. If I click on flow run, I should be able to see the records for all the flow which has been executed within this environment. So now here, if you see that I have executed this at 10:27 a.m. Okay. Now this environment does not have much record. So if I navigate to my dev environment, here if you go to again go to the tables, click on all and search for flow run, or just type in run. And if you navigate to flow run, then here you will see all the records for which the flow has run. So now here you'll see more than 298 records. Okay, so if I see this, then I can see the flow runs has a name. Okay, it has a name which is in the form of some alphanumeric character. It's not a GOID, it's alphanumeric character. uh, then you can select various options like various columns like duration, when it was started, who created it, who, when it was created, whether there were any error ID or error code or error message or flow run ID. So all these columns are available for you to utilize. So all the flow run which earlier we used to save it manually somewhere, now it is all available out of the box. Okay, so there is an option to time to live as well, so I'll just click on save. Now if you see this, it will exactly tell you all this flow run, when it was executed, what was the duration, and whether there were any error code or error message. So if you scroll down, I can let me see if there were any error code or error message for my flow. So everything looks clean for me, so it was all executed successfully. And also you can see the status has succeeded over here. So any flow which has been succeeded, it will show you over here, as well as failed one. So if there is a, if the flow is failed, then you will see error code and error message correspondingly displayed as well. And it will exactly give you when it was created, who it was, who executed it, and all those things. So that's it, folks. This is all about flow runs. It is all about this is all about how to enable the versioning and how to make use of versioning within Microsoft Power Automate. Thanks for watching.